launch sound for the weekends, like
Yeah, I know, right?
not the backpack show sound.
I know.
It's 63 degrees right now in Las Vegas.
Coming at you.
Coming at you live.
I don't know what it is here. I should figure that out, what it is in Boston. Well, let me see. There's faster ways to get the weather. So
My
this
device,
is
61, it says.
57 degrees and drizzling, which, like, I promise you 10 minutes ago, it was sunny and gorgeous out. So
Oh,
I don't know what's happened, but I don't like it.
maybe that's like Boston, the city, compared to where you are. Maybe it's headed your way.
Oh, maybe.
So we're going to do some journaling today.
So we are.
Why not?
So
Whoever's
have
here
us-
live, say hi in the chat so that we can say hi back to you. Carrie's going to pick a prompt out of some journaling book you got. What's that book about?
So I don't know. It's called the Claim Badass You Journal. Unleash the power within, release self-doubt, and be a conscious creator of your life through affirmations and unique shadow work prompts. So basically, I was like, it would be cool to have like a fill in the blank journal, because sometimes when faced with a blank page, I just like don't have a lot to say, and I end up defaulting to kind of what happened today or what's going on in my life right now, which is all right, but it's not doing a lot for my personal growth. It's like I'm just sort
Right.
of reporting to myself on myself, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So I thought maybe a journal would help me expand.
One with prompts, anyway.
Yeah. So I don't know. Some of these there's themes, and the themes tend to be like repeated throughout. So a lot of
Right.
stuff about gratitude. I guess, nah, I don't want to do that. It was like, oh, one way I can improve my relationship with my family. I'm like, not today.
Not today.
That's a little heavy for a Sunday morning. Maybe something like this. This is easy. So, okay. I don't know how well you can read it.
I can't read it. Say the words.
One thing I love doing, hold the wrong side. One thing I love doing is today I feel a relationship I value most is, and my greatest passion is. Got
All
it?
right.
Okay.
So we'll start with one thing I love doing. So everybody who's here who hasn't once said hello in the comments for reasons I don't understand.
Shush.
I'm gonna make a little note that says carry prompts so that my journal, my future biographers will not think I was thinking of these things. So what was it? One thing I love doing
One
is.
thing I love doing is.
Oh, okay.
And I'll put it up. Hold on.
Oh yeah. That's smart.
I mean, every now and then. The thing is, I'll have to switch them out when we switch prompts.
We'll just whip through the prompts, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
One thing I love doing is. Because I've done this so much in the last couple of months about journaling in front of people.
Yeah.
I've come to realize that I talk out loud while I write.
You do, which is bad because you also do it when you're messaging.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily
messages.
Not super for someone who messages about important things. That's okay though. I've learned to just like tune it out like noise. So that I don't inadvertently hear things that are not for me.
Right. So all these people are watching us journal, but none of them are saying hi just yet.
Hey, don't be fussy.
A little sad and lonely.
I skipped ahead. Okay, so here's what we're doing. I ordered a new journal. Claim Badass You Journal. I got it off of Etsy. I imagine you can get it probably some other way. This one is by Renata Mazou. And so in here, you have prompts for your journal, and they tend to help you focus on gratitude or things that you value or want to change, things you want to manifest, that kind of stuff. So, but for me, it's really just a helpful way to organize my journaling and give me something to think about that's a little deeper than like day-to-day events of my life. So we're sharing the journal prompts with you here. The first one is one thing I love doing. Now I've made all my banners, so I'm actually going to try and tackle that one.
Yeah.
My biographers will be like, why'd you do 2 journal entries on this day? She like barely journals
And then
once
she
a
did
week,
too.
and
Yeah.
2 in one day.
Well, it's because it's a little, different times right now. Because I'm on the other coast, so it's not even 8. Not even 8 here. It's practically 11 there.
I'm talking about baking. That's one thing I love doing is baking.
Oh.
Because I love the precision of it, and it's kind of meditative.
Well, now that just made me realize something. That's why I haven't been able to ask for those no bake cookies because you
What?
like the baking part. So I just said, make me a no bake thing. And you were like, no, because, you want to make a baking thing. Well,
I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
share mine because I actually wrote it. You're faster writer than me. And I know why. Because I write in all caps. And the
Oh,
reason I do that is because when I don't, I'm illegible. Because when I write as fast as I think I'm thinking, uh,
yes.
it's a blur and it's not useful to me or anybody. Like I can't read my own words.
I
So
used to write cursive, but my children can't read cursive. They
that's
don't.
maybe a reason to write in cursive.
That's probably true.
So
But
you
I
can
mean,
add,
in general, it's not like I don't mean
yeah,
specifically for my journal. I just mean like I've gotten into the habit of printing because my children
yeah.
can't read cursive. So
I forget when I first heard the term cursive was a technology, is a technology, but like cursive came along because writing the other way, printing, was too slow.
that's so interesting.
And our language is one of the few that you could do it that way as such. I mean, there are versions of it for other languages, but it is so uniquely different, the flow of cursive versus like
Hmm.
in Arabic, for instance, there's a lot more common kind of Arabic. There's a much more formal kind of Arabic, but essentially it's still kind of the same sorts of characters. Whereas in cursive, an E versus a printed E is just a little loop. Like if you write clearly, it's just a bunch of silly looking letters. So I don't know. I think
Yeah.
that's interesting.
But they can analyze handwriting for
Yeah.
supposedly for personality traits and stuff. But mine completely was changed because my teacher kind of made me change it.
Uh,
So like it used to be very different. It used to be very small and like straight up and down.
mm,
And then I had this teacher in the 6th grade who was like, no, and made me write these like very ornate big letters. And now, so my handwriting changed then. I also used to exchange homework with this friend of
yes.
mine. Like she would do math and I would do English. And
Yeah.
so, play to your strengths. And so I learned her handwriting and she learned my handwriting. And so to this day, in my printed handwriting at least, I have like pieces that were hers. So all of which to say, I don't know if handwriting analysis is that big an art, like big a loss, because I think it's probably not that accurate.
My mom used to do a little bit about that. She had learned a little bit about it, and then she would go and run off and find her little notes, and then come back and then tell us even more about what our handwriting said. And I never remember anything. I think it said I wasn't very confident, and that's when I lost confidence in the handwriting analysis because I was like, if there's one thing I am, it is very confident,
No
usually
comment.
to a fault. So here's my answer. So one thing I love doing is getting to know things about people below the surface. I love hearing a
Mm.
story about a passion or a cherished moment because we always connect at such a surface level. I crave hearing more. And I said, gather like this over food, and I'm in heaven. So
So you're so much deeper than me. I said one thing I love doing is baking. I love the precision of it. So it's like meditating and you get treats after.
well, there you go. We could gather over food. You could talk about times you baked. You could, see they connect. They connect really well. Feed me the baked goods, and then we can connect.
Okay, this is an easy one. I feel like this prompt should have been first.
What's
Today
a
I feel. Wouldn't that be
today?
the easy? I mean, that's basically like, how are you? But from your journal.
Well, if we had people commenting instead of just watching us, we could have heard what their thing that they wanted to love doing is. But I guess we'll just move on to today. I feel
No,
so lonely.
anybody, listen, even if you're jumping back to a different prompt, even if you're just journaling and you're not at all following the prompts, you can comment anytime you want to, and we can chat about what's going on with you.
Maybe they just love our sultry voices while they're
Okay. My
I don't
voice
know.
can be sultry. I don't usually put it on for the morning show, but it could be. Today we're going to journal. I like to do a little bit of
ASMR Kerry.
baking. Yeah, I can make it pretty good money. I think probably doing something like that.
Well, I'm on a helicopter flight path, so it's not very ASMR over here. I'm just
That's
here.
such a shame. Now, was that there like
Yeah,
always,
the Grand
or did
Canyon. It was here before
no, Dur? I just meant like
the helicopter
when,
thing.
for example, did they only show that house 15 minutes at a time to make sure everybody would be out before the helicopters flew over,
I
or like?
swear, I bet my parents were in the driveway. The helicopter goes by, and I'm sure the realtor was like, "Huh, what do you know, a helicopter?" And then they go inside, and you can't hear anything in the house, so you just do your stuff, and you look around, you come out, there's look at the pool, huh? Another helicopter, weird. And then they just go. It's at the top of the hour, so it's about, from what I can gather, it's about 5 minutes before the hour until 5 minutes after the hour. A fleet of helicopters going back and forth to the Grand Canyon directly over my parents' head. I could really wave to the underbellies of all these guys going by.
Wow.
Where I'm sitting, I can't see them. If I'm in the swimming pool, my parents' swimming pool, I can see them.
Top of the hour. That means 7 to 17 helicopters going by overhead. So bear with me.
Well, that finally Chloe decloaked.
You're gonna have to start putting. Hi. You're gonna have to start putting like your meetings starting 15 minutes after the hour or something, and then finishing like 5 minutes before.
Well, today's my last day at this address. I've spent a whole week with my parents, more than a week, because I got here last Friday. So these poor fools have had to endure me 9 days straight.
I'm sorry, they've had to endure you 54 years straight.
That's also true. Good point. Reasonable point. And I'll come back again. But today I switch over and I start hanging out with my boob head coworkers. So
not me, I would like to point out.
Cody and Piers from Britain is over, and Ed Gale has a barbecue thing that I may possibly have to miss. And then 5:30 p.m. I promised Paul Lechner I'd go to the airport and meet him. So today I feel.
I feel. You didn't drive out there. You're going there just to meet him. It's not like you have a car to go pick him up.
Yeah, I'm taking a lift to the airport to meet him.
It makes no sense. It makes less than no sense.
It really doesn't. Maybe I'll tell him that. Because he originally thought my parents were coming with, but it's going to be a little too late. I don't think they're going to be up for it.
Okay.
They get ready for bed a little earlier, but they get up pretty early too.
So Chloe, you should share what your journal stuff is if you want to.
Yeah.
Our first prompt was one thing I love doing is, and then right now we're working on the prompt today I feel, which should be easy for just about anybody. You don't even have to like properly journal. You could just, I don't know, tell us how you feel.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. It's kind of funny. So I feel optimistic, and I don't know how much that has to do with, anything going on in my life. It's largely to do with springtime because I like springtime. It's not my favorite season. My favorite season is fall. I love crisp air and like back to school and all that kind of stuff. But I like springtime, like mud season, when it's been cold and gross, and then it starts to get sunny and warm again, and the buds come out on the flowers and all that. I love that.
Well, I used to like mud season.
Don't blame the whole season for your ineptitude.
That is reasonable. Oh my gosh. So the other day, I was on with your grand boss, Jill, CMO, and a call about important work stuff. I obviously don't do it in front of my folks. That would not be very discreet. So I go outdoors. The minute I step outside, a big siren goes by, like a big fire truck kind of a thing. I was like, son of a gun. And I said, I'm so sorry, Jill. And with Zoom tries to block out the background sounds. iPhone does so much. So that goes by, and then I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she goes, yeah, no problem. And then a trash truck comes and starts doing trash stuff directly beside me. There's
That's
a whole
amazing.
street of trash cans, and he went sort of sideways down this cross street and started picking up cans in front of me. So I turn around, start walking the other way. I'm saying this because there's a loud motorcycle going this way. Turn around, goes the other way. So I start walking down the street away from all this. I'm like, all right, I'm good. Three little baby chihuahuas, pew, 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 out on the lawn, barking their head off. Like, I must kill you. And I was like, you're serious right now.
If you're listening and not talking, you could mute that.
Well, it was a little of both. I tried to mute it. So then I go past that house. I get down to the end of my parents' street, and there's a guy with a car with like glass packed mufflers. And I was like, you're a son of a bitch. So then I turned around, went back the other way, and I just said, que sera, sera. Let's just.
You could just go into your room. It's not like your parents have one big room and you had to share it like with them.
Yeah, but then I talk like this into the phone and it's not weird. I missed the first prompt today, but today I feel grateful. Sundays are my favorite day of the week, says Chloe.
So the first prompt is one thing I love doing is, and the second prompt is today I feel. And Chloe says, Sundays are my favorite day of the week. Oh, I kind of like Saturday. I don't know. Sunday is very nice, but for me, it's sort of like ruined by Monday coming right on its heels. I'm like, oh, I have a bunch of stuff to do. So, but I do. I enjoy weekends in general. So today, yeah, I feel optimistic because I love springtime. I guess sunshine and tulips and new beginnings and all that stuff. What about you?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm not super spring guy. Although, look, this is such a Vegas type story. My parents took us to the Bellagio to look at. They have a garden display every season,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say that, it's like stuff you'd see at Disney kind of stuff, like super cool flowers and like
Mm-hmm.
big decorations and all that. I took
Yeah, they could like make a parade out
yeah,
of these.
just in this little garden area. And I went in there, and the only reason I know some of these plant names is because I used Google Lens and aimed at the plants. But like there were hyacinths and things like that, and it was very much beautiful smelling. I had a great old experience. Yeah, like a video game. I felt like a video game. I felt like what's that game called? It's one of those mobile games where you're kind of riding on a skateboard or something like that.
Paperboy?
No, the modern
It
game.
sounds like Paperboy. The
Modern
dogs
game,
and the
old
trucks
lady.
and the.
No.
Oh.
I wrote today. I feel sad to leave my parents' house, but excited to see my coworkers and friends. I won't be very duty laden at the event, but that always changes. Like I start off with like tabula rasa, and then find out I have meetings nonstop.
Then you're popular.
No, I'm not in this case. Look, you got to remember, I go from being a keynote speaker with lots of people all around me just waiting to hear what I got to say to not a single person there knowing that I am there for or knowing anything that I care about the business. Like they don't want to know a single.
I think it's even funnier. I think they see you and go, "Oh no, what's he here for?" And then go run away and hide so that you don't like scrutinize them too much.
Oh, that's just my colleagues.
Yeah, but isn't that like a large percentage of who you see, or are you going to start?
That'll be my duty. I mean, there's thousands of people there, so it'll be fun.
How big is it? I don't even know how big it is.
How did it do what?
How big is the event? I don't know.
Oh yeah, thousands. It's I would say I'd go somewhere about like 4,000 to 6,000, maybe 10.
That's so many. I like my gatherings small.
Yeah, I mean this one's at a pretty big venue, not the LVCC, which is like where they do CES and all that. Not that big,
right?
But kind of equivalent to at least a couple of 3 profs or so stacked on top of each other, and that's because it's software, right? So like all the biggest customers, we have like huge customers, Apple and Northrop Grumman and all those kinds of people will be walking the floors. We have the biggest booth and biggest booth presence, I guess, this year. So I don't know if we're the number 1 sponsor. I think we're the number 1.5 sponsor. We missed our chance or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it had more than 3,000 people last year. Yikes. So I went to Content Marketing World last year, it was in DC, and it had like 4,000 people. And to me, that was just an obscene number of people. I was very much like, I'll stay in this corner with, these sessions and these folks. And like, this is what I'm doing. I just had to make it small. So let's see. No more comment. Nobody wants to share their journal with us.
Not a
Okay.
one. So what's your today I feel? Did you?
Oh, I feel optimistic because I like springtime.
Right.
Yeah. And yours was sad to leave your parents' house, but happy because you're going to see all your friends and colleagues.
A relationship I value most is.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I want to pick something obscure for that one. Well, I mean, because everybody knows all the people that matter the most to me. I surround myself with them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that's interesting.
Relationship. I'm going to edit your prompt a little. A relationship I value most, but rarely think about.
Really think about. Okay.
Or think enough about, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Hold on. I can edit our prompt.
A
relationship I value most, but don't think enough about.
Sure.
Okay.
Meaning this is one of those, I really should get back in touch with that person. And we know should means won't, but
Do we know that?
We know that. So maybe, someone we haven't really, it could be too, is somebody that we miss, right? Like somebody it's like, I just wish I had some more time with, or I wish I could get a little more wisdom from. Although who knows? I mean, when I thought that, I thought immediately of my grandparents, because I've always loved my grandparents probably more than some folks do.
This is hard. This is hard for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, because that's the first thing I thought of too. I actually thought of my friend Andrea, who's gone now. My mother and my father, who are both gone now. My favorite uncle, who is gone now. And I was just like, all right, listen.
Yeah, this sucks. Yeah.
I don't want to do this prompt on a spring day, like a Sunday morning.
All right. Let's really cheat then. Let's, whole different idea.
Okay.
I'm scratching my note.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a lot more fun. The celebrity or historical figure.
Okay.
I wish I could hang out with is.
All right.
There you go.
Celebrity or historical figure I wish I could hang out with is
Vlad Tepes.
Stop it.
There, that's a better prompt. Wish I could.
Okay. You have a lot. It's really hard to say. I have so many. I've been thinking about recently how interesting it would be to have access to certain times in history, like to just observe, like you're not even allowed to actually be there. Actually, you don't mess stuff up butterfly effect style, but just to like see it, just to know what actually happened, because history gets so obviously chowed through the interpretations, even of well-meaning people trying to write down events. It's still like their narrow perspective, colored by their personal views, blah, blah, blah. It would just be interesting to see for yourself. So historical figure. Oh, this is so tough. I have so many.
Oh, there's so many.
No.
I'll name a few that I was thinking about as I was kind of going through this, though, because I've been having pretty fun debates in my head the whole time since I said this, which is like, I love Wes Anderson, I love his movies, but I've listened to his director's cut, and he's not deep. He's just like really into the things he's into. So I think I would be like, nah. Oh, I know my answer now. And then I was thinking about like a real creative person, like a Neil Gaiman or something like that. But all I would learn is I'd learn Neil's process. And it's not like I want to emulate Neil's writing. I would just want to, it would be more exciting to do. But I know my answer. It's Mustafa Suleiman, who is that guy that was really integral to making DeepMind, which is that AI that beat um, um, all those chess and Go, and then a bunch of Atari games. Like it could outplay a human on them, and all that. So as he was training up this AI, and now he's the guy who created or co-created Pi.ai, which I'll tell you update about that in a second. Pi is 5 billion times smarter than DeepMind was.
But it acts dumb, so you'll like it more.
That's right. So 5 billion times smarter. And now he went over to Microsoft. So he's heading their AI, and he's working on things that are trillions of times smarter now. And I had to calculate out a trillion the other day. It's 1,000 billion. But like the visual for it on his new TED Talk, you're like, son of a bejesus, that is a lot. The thing is reading 8 trillion words a month right now. That's what they're learning on.
But is this why we're gonna lose what's left of the rainforest? Because we need a lot of power for that.
I mean, there is that question and problem. But once these things really get to where they're heading, it's going to be the thing that saves us, because it's going to help us with better thought and analysis and data crunching and all this kind of stuff. It'll recommend things that we can't compute fast enough because we don't think. Oh, Pema Chodron. Well, I can tell you she's very sweet. And
here we go. Oh, because they had tapas with Lady Gaga one time in Soho.
Yes. And she's very small. And she giggles very freely.
How? Can you do it?
Oh, no, I cannot. Almost, and I never met the Dalai Lama, but the Dalai Lama giggles a lot too. Pema Chodron is that's a really good one, huh?
So I have 3.
What do you got?
So J.P. Morgan.
Oh,
dude, so smart about finance and investing that like the government asked him for advice when the gold standard, was a problem. People wanted to move off it, and like what were they going to do? And I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot to learn from. I know they were robber barons, but there's a lot to learn from their insight into like human nature, but also business and how it works and how they built what they built, I guess. So him. And also because he had interest in electricity at a time when other people thought it was dangerous at best and, kind of like a waste of money, novelty, carnival trick kind of thing. And he saw the potential in it. So I'm always interested in talking to people like that. That's actually, I've said you a bunch of times, like over the years, when people ask me, like one Mark Schaefer asked me, who would you give a bunch of money just to, see what they would do with it? And I was like, Rogan, because like, who would you learn from? Who'd you go learn from? And I was like, oh, Rogan, because how he thinks is so different. This is the same for J.P. Morgan. I would like to learn how he thinks. And then Queen Elizabeth I, because she was a master at navigating a hostile political environment and like kind of finding a way to disarm her opponents with her wit and her humor, and it's still getting the results she wanted at the end. So there's a lot to be learned there. And then Howard Stern. I would want to hang out with him about interviewing. So I didn't pick just one because they have different like things that I want to know and do. So. Which one? Chloe? Sorry, I went ahead. Elizabeth I probably had a great sense of humor.
Oh, Pema Chodron.
Oh.
Because that comment came in right after Pema, and I said that she laughs a lot. Okay. And not only does she have a sense of humor, but it's about like really mundane, normal life things. That's my favorite part. It's like, regular life stuff. It's not like you meet someone who's like a Buddhist nun who's renowned for helping people meditate, and she's just funny. I'm so surprised when you name the ones you name, because I know you have such a thing about history, especially the Gilded Age, but very much you have, a fascination digging into the women's side of it. So when you started with J.P. Morgan, I was so surprised you didn't name Mama Morgan. I don't know her name.
Mama Morgan. At the time,
Or Lady
and
Astor.
no, so Caroline Astor, or Carolina, whatever, Carrie Astor, like formed the society, the 400, and all of that with Ward McAllister's help. And so it is interesting to me how she undertook to like recreate aristocracy in America basically based on money, how much money he had. So like that's interesting to me, but it's also not a thing I want to do. It's actually very counter to anything I might want to do versus JP Morgan, who had the instincts to well, obviously he had some money backing him as well, so he's already like ahead of any place I might be, but he had the instincts to recognize the application of new technology, kind of like you do too with AI or blockchain. You were like, yeah, so you don't care about this thing, but you should care because it's going to power a bunch of things. I want to know more about that. And I already get to talk to you. So JP Morgan's like the other person I think of when I think about that. People who kind of see the potential in things that other people might discard. So
It's funny because one of the things I had from reading about those guys, Carnegie and so Carnegie, Carnegie was trains. No,
Andrew Carnegie,
yeah,
Steele. Well,
Carnegie was steel. Who was oil? My guy, Rockefeller, right?
yeah.
So Carnegie,
And
Rockefeller,
kerosene.
Morgan. So the way I looked at it most recently was I wrote this word down upstream because this is the way it went. So Carnegie had the steel, and that became important because he had to lay the tracks for railways and he had to build the engines for all those industrial plants. As the industrial age grew, everyone needed steel for all those pursuits. Everyone needed tracks for all those pursuits. He was upstream of that. Rockefeller had oil, which was fueling all of this stuff, and the switch to petroleum when people started making automobiles, he was right at the crux of that. He was upstream of that. But Morgan was ahead of and upstream of both of them. Morgan was pushing around vast sums of money, mostly sovereign wealth from other nations, into the Americas, and he was upstream of all that as well. So it's of the three of those, all of them upstream of the upstream. So it's a good choice. These are really good.
I also have a book by Barbara Walters about interviewing. It's called something like How to Talk to Practically Anybody About Practically Anything.
I love that
But
book.
it's cool. There was nothing in it that I didn't already like innately understand.
Right.
You know, like, oh, get people to talk about what they're comfortable with, or basically like softball them. I think we all get that. Like softballing people makes it easy to talk to them.
Right.
But if you're a journalist, you want to dig a little deeper. That's why I thought Howard Stern is, in my opinion, like the best interviewer of his generation, because he gets people to talk about things they do not want to talk about at length and in detail. So that's some kind of a gift. And they don't, from what I've seen, typically regret it after, which is obviously something you need to be concerned about as a show host, because you want people to, talk about their appearance and to feel good about it and to come back. So you don't want to push it to the point where they regret having talked with you, but you do want to push them past kind of the softball stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that he was interesting, and I don't have there's not like a woman interviewer that I think has that same ability. That I can think of. If you think of one, let me know. I'll research them. I'm into that. So the last journal prompt, like I'm super think is that hard. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my greatest passion. It's probably not even worth your time. Let's not do
Yeah,
it.
I'm thinking I might need to cut it short because I gotta.
I know. I hear you firing off messages.
No. I was just writing a note to self. But that's a good journal. I like that.
It's okay. It's okay. If you like journaling from something other than a blank page, this has some good thoughts that'll get you, like prompts that'll get you past the basics.
I am working on a kind of journaling prompt book, but it'll be very different than that one because each one will have a kind of a page of information before you start journaling. And for instance, my first 3 prompts are someday you will be dead, your coach called, and who are you today?
So you're going to give people homework? You're like, read this essay.
Book's called The
And
Assignment.
then-
You read the page and then you go right on it. It's exactly that. It's the assignment. So I'm going to go. And I'm so grateful you shared a little time journaling with me, Kerry, and all you nice people who came. And, you know, if we were doing the backpack show, I guess Chloe'd have to be our person of the day because none of you other assholes spoke up.
Oh, hey. And here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
Don't call people names just because they want to lurk.
Yellow card Brogan. Well, what else is new?
Unreal.
I am unreal. All right. Let's get on out of here. Let's close this one off. Thank you so much. I'll catch up with you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.